the A1X Plus running Android Lollipop 5.0. Now, I do need to point out that currently on the product page there are actually two different tablets, and I'm going to pan out because this is something that needs to be aware of with pretty much all Amazon product pages. As you see there, we actually have two separate tablets. This is the one I'm reviewing that just recently got released, and this is the one that's, well, all the other reviews, older reviews, are currently referring to, because you're going to have reviews for both products. Now, technically they are two separate products, so this is the one I'm looking at. So if you're reading a review, what you need to do is, I'm going to pan out and just illustrate something, because this is something that apparently not a lot of folks actually understand. When you look at a review, you'll notice a subtitle here, and I guess I'll pan in again so I can illustrate. You'll see color, and you see that saying one tablet. So when you keep looking at other reviews on any product page, and you have to look at that little subheading. Notice that says color, one tablet. All these reviews are still referring to this one right here, but I'm reviewing this one, so be aware. Now, this is A1X Plus running Lollipop, and I have to do it. That is also a tablet made by Dragon Touch as well. That is the MX10, and I've had it now for 2 months. Absolutely love it. It's got my most heartfelt recommendation, especially as a gamer's tablet. And on the whole, pretty much spec to spec, physical to physical, it is absolutely the superior tablet. It's also $20 more, but the amount that you actually get for that $20, it's just, it's really hard to beat. But the A1X Plus does actually have two particular features, at least to my thinking, that may make it a contender. Well, first, it is $20 cheaper, and sometimes, believe me, I understand, a budget is a budget, and you just can't afford that extra $20. I understand that, and so on its own, as you know, as it's priced for $100, this is a very good tablet. It does run Android Lollipop, and I know for many folks, that's what they really want. They don't want to deal with the older Kit Kat, which that does run. That does not have Lollipop, and that's one of the main advantages of this one, is this does have the Lollipop OS. The second major advantage is that this actually has integrated GPS. So if you download a map, you can actually navigate that map while being offline. You don't have to burn mobile data minutes or anything like that while traveling. That does not have that. But once again, aside from that, this thing has octa-core processing with an octa-core graphical processor, a full-size USB port. You know how rare that is? Extremely rare to have a full-size USB port as well as the micro USB port. A bit better resolution. It's just, I mean, I've been playing the snot out of that thing for the past 2 months. It is my gaming tablet. It's gotten to the point where I actually gave up my Samsung Tab 3 after, yes, my Samsung Tab 3 10.1-inch screen. I gave it to a family member because I finally found an absolute upgrade replacement for that was just great all around. But here we are with the A1X Plus. Not quite so robust. It's quad-core, 1.3 gigahertz, which is still good in its own standards. It's just when you consider $20 more, you get an octa-core running upwards of 2 gigahertz. It is a 1024 by 600 IPS display. Now that one also is IPS. You're pretty much always going to have an IPS screen for any tablet under the $150 range, which is what I call the budget range. $150 and less, you're pretty much always going to have an IPS display, and all IPS displays, on both of them, on any one, will have some sort of phase shifting. What is that? That's when you, basically when you hold the screen directly towards you, it looks great, but once you move it, you'll notice it kind of phases out. A little bit of graying happens. Now, not all IPS tablets are the same when it comes to the degree of graying out. Some are really, really crisp, and I mean, Dragon Touch actually had one far earlier this year that was like really almost perfect from every angle. Now this one does actually have a bit though, mainly from the up and down angles. From the side to side is actually still pretty crisp. It's just the up and down angles on this one, it just tends to gray out a lot, but if you're holding it straight on, you're good to go. That is fairly much the same characteristics. Looking on, it's very bright, it's very vibrant, but it does have a little bit of shifting from side to side. That's just the nature of the beast. But some tablets are going to be a lot worse than others, especially when you get down in the $60 and lower range. Then, as soon as you do that and you can't see anything because it's grayed out. This is actually pretty good. Well, let's give it actually above average rating on the IPS display of shifting. Now, storage. I definitely want to treat the storage on this just because this does have non-partitioned full memory. That is finally becoming the standard, and I'm so happy. Now, you'll still find partitioned memory where they take the internal memory, they say like 8 gigabytes, and then you'll use maybe 2-3 gigabytes for operating system, what have you, and so you'll have, let's say, just 6 gigabytes, and they'll divide that up between 1 gigabyte for device memory and then 5 gigabytes for internal memory. That's what's known as partitioned memory, where they actually take that internal memory and split it up, and that has a lot of fiddly, technical, pain in the rear aspects to it. Now, it's becoming more common where they just do away with all that, and this is one of them. You have 16 gigabytes, about 3.5 is used for operating system and preloaded apps and utilities. So you got 12.5 gigabytes all there, nothing divided up. You just download and you're good to go. Easier to keep track of, the whole 9 yards. And as for the apps themselves, there's no bloatware or junk on there. It's just the standard operating system stuff from Google Android. So we're good to go. As for Wi-Fi and page loading, it's good. In fact, my Wi-Fi reception in my house for the past couple of days has been really twitchy, and this is still moving very well in spite of my own Wi-Fi issues. So let's go ahead and bring up the browser. I'm already loaded up on a YouTube page, and I'm just going to choose a YouTube video at random, one that I haven't loaded in, so there's no buffering involved, so we can see how fast it loads up from fresh. I am not at maximum Wi-Fi reception right now. It's like I said, my Wi-Fi here at the house is So we got the page loaded up, so we're just now waiting for the video to load up. And there we go. I'm going to go into portrait mode here. Now for regular page loading, we'll go ahead and go to Amazon.com and you can zoom in and out as well. Alright, so yeah, just to reiterate again, my own Wi-Fi is not at the strongest, but it's still loaded up, played, and all that. Now I'm running out of time here, so let's just look at the physical features real quick. You have the power button there, volume is on the side, so power, volume, and then the micro USB. There is no separate input for barrel pin AC wall adapter charging. This one does, and it's actually kind of common for these budget tablets to have a separate power input. This one does not. It's actually a far more traditional setup that most people are going to be familiar with. You use that same micro USB port for charging as well as any OTG on the go use. Then you do have an HDMI. It is a mini HDMI. Micro HDMI actually looks more like that. It's a mini HDMI, so if you buy a cable, make sure you get one that says mini HDMI to HDMI. Your aux port, SD card, that is a physical reset button. So if you need to reset your tablet and you can't do it by the software, you can use that as a physical pin. And then there's the microphone. The camera, well, the camera stinks. But I've really never found any kind of camera that was really all that great on a budget tablet. Yeah, the camera stinks. Not a selling point, but that's pretty much true for them all. So I'm out of time, but if you have any questions, feel free, drop me a comment. You have yourself a great one.